So you think you're bullish enough? Huh? Huh? You bullish enough? Huh? Huh? All right, all right, all right, all right.
Yeah, with a lot of stocks, especially if it starts going into mainstream, that's usually when you should get ready to leave.
Trying to figure out what on WallStreetBets is actual information that's useful. The people there are very smart, actually, very sophisticated.
All right, welcome back. We're here with Brian Wiley, the odd one. He is a variety streamer with TSM, and he streams daily on Twitch. How you doing today, Brian?
I'm doing pretty good. What are you doing?
I hear this is a little too early for you.
It's usually I stream pretty late, 6 days a week. So usually it's a graveyard shift, and my stream usually ends at like 4 a.m. So.
Well, what keeps you going? Do you have energy at night?
I think once you get used to it, like you'll have energy because, to be honest, my mornings never were productive anyway. So I guess as you go on through the night, like it just seems fine because you're used to sleeping at a certain hour.
When do you ever take breaks?
Like during stream, it's let's see. I think usually like a couple hours in, I have a short break, and then 8 hours in, I have one more break, and then usually, yeah, the rest is just streaming or mostly being on camera, I'd say.
Have you been streaming before COVID arrived?
Yeah, I've been streaming pretty long, so I'd say about 9-ish years, I'd say. So I'm actually one of the older streamers on the site because my previous thing I did was playing the game called League of Legends professionally, and it just happened that streaming was part of it because it was booming at the time. We're starting to blow up around 2011-ish, so yeah, around 2012, I'd say I started full-time streaming. A couple years ago, they weren't as long, but I'd say, I guess, my days off aren't as exciting anymore because COVID, but I'd say I'm just used to these hours right now, but I guess it just, for me, it didn't change as much as, say, someone else who would go out more, but I'd say, yeah, I'm actually not as affected by COVID, I'd say, as a lot of people because of how I work or whatever.
Brian, are you a trader, an investor?
Yeah, so about around 2016, because I would talk with other esports people about what to do with our money because, yeah, obviously the bank interest rates aren't going to beat inflation, but I think around then, but what convinced me to invest was there's something called capital gains tax, and if you invest long term for over a year, yeah, it's significantly less than say if you say for instance GameStop you buy and then sell it before a year's up, so you'd be taxed like normally on that. But yeah, for me, I started investing about 2016 because the capital gains tax was like too good to pass up. So, and obviously it beats the bank's interest rates. For me, it started out because I saw Nintendo about 4 or 5 years ago, and I played some of their mobile games, and I knew their Switch would probably be a hit. So I invested in that one. There's another one called Tencent, which I invest in, also a video game and other stuff company. But usually, I'd say as long as the stock isn't too swingy, I'm probably safe to put in money in it and then maybe hold it for at least a year. If it doesn't do good in a year, then obviously you can just keep it. Eventually got into GameStop about over a year ago.
Have you taken any out, or are you still holding on?
Took it all out. So around, was it 20 or in January of last year, I had roughly 8,000 stock at $4. So the idea was, if you want to go to why I ideally got it, so it was at $4. I thought the stock was undervalued. A lot of people on Reddit said it was pretty bad or whatever, but I figured with the new consoles coming out in about 9 months, the price wasn't already priced in. So, and they had a lot of assets and distribution. So while they're not Walmart or Amazon, they still had that going for them. So thought they're undervalued there. But as for if I'm still in it, no, I've already sold, because obviously if you're at $4 and you see those big percentage numbers, I think I sold about half at 70 to make sure I wasn't wasn't gonna lose all my profits. That usually what I like to do is sell a little bit to make sure you don't like completely wipe out. So set around half there, and then I think I sold half about it was a Monday, I think, last week. I think it was 300-ish. This is February 8th, so about a week ago, I believe I sold, the remaining half around 300.
Well, it sounds like you made a lot of money.
I made, a lot. Yeah, with a lot of stocks, especially if it starts going into mainstream, that's usually when you should get ready to leave, because chances are, there's going to be paper hands or whatever leaving because they just didn't want to FOMO or whatever. But I'd say, usually it's like a similar thing happened to Bitcoin a few years ago. I think that will eventually tie into another question you have. But as soon as the mainstream media picked up on Bitcoin, that was around when the peak happened. And then, I'm assuming people started selling around then. So usually, you just have to stay awake and look at the price constantly. So when I saw it at 300, I think that Sunday I stayed up all night because it's my schedule anyway. But then I looked at the pre-trading numbers, and I believe for the first time it didn't actually go up before the market opened. So that was obviously a bad sign. I believe that day it was around 300, and then that's when I got out. And then I think for the rest of the day it just plummeted to 200 or so, but never really reached 300 again after the first hour of trading started.
Where are you currently seeing GameStop stopping, if it does stop?
I think it'll go down a little bit more before stabilizing. But if you're patient, you might be able to get a higher price, because they did do a bunch of board changes. I know no one cares about that, whoever bought into the frenzy, because they're against the shorts. But they did get a new board in, and it looks like they could turn around and maybe not really be a net fix, but maybe do a lot of digital distribution. As for the price, I'd say it's overvalued right now. Personally, I don't know if it will like go down to like. I think most analysts have it at 20. I probably would say either 20 or 30.
I'm just wondering how this is going to help GameStop in the future.
I'm not sure how much the frenzy would help GameStop. I know, I believe actually there was the guy, I forgot the guy's name from the Big Short, that film.
Michael Burry.
Oh yeah. I think he actually told GameStop to buy their shares when they were $4, as in buy back their stock, because the shorts were shorting their stock. So I believe he actually had GameStop buy back their stock. So they might actually be in a good position. They could have sold some of their shares or issued more, but I don't know how the frenzy will help them too much. But I think they were already on the path to like increase in everything, because they fired a lot of their old people. They got a bunch of new people. That guy's invested in Ryan Cohen from Chewy. Obviously kicked out some board members and put his guys in. They do have a lot of like warehouses and a lot of assets or a lot of games like just sitting in storage. So they could do it. They could also sell digital as well, because that's what some companies do. I know Amazon does it. You can buy digital off their store. You get a code and then you put it in. So GameStop could also just pivot to that as well and be the middleman there, because people still want to play sports games, and maybe they just figure they might get a GameStop bonus or a credit or whatever by buying with them instead of directly from the PlayStation or Xbox store.
There's a lot of people they spoke very highly of GameStop. They really do like the stock. They really do like the stock. They want GameStop to work out. And I think it's a very nostalgic thing too.
Yeah, I'd say it's like Blockbuster. Like Blockbuster is very nostalgic as well as GameStop. So people don't want it to fail. They just, I guess a year ago, they just figured GameStop was failing and it sort of sucked, but couldn't really stop it. But I'd say there's a future for them, because if GameStop were to go away, it would basically just be like Best Buy, Amazon maybe. But and then maybe some mom and pop stores. But it's nice having like a more mainstream store that sells games.
Well, I think GameStop kind of had a more positive outlook to it after the fact of COVID. They kind of miss the idea of going out to stores and doing things physically.
Yeah, like the gaming sector especially. So if there are beneficiaries of the COVID, yeah, it's the gaming industry. I believe like most revenues and everything were very positive during COVID, and yeah, people like if you're gonna go out for even a short time, you might as well like just get a game or something so you could stay inside for the rest of the week or something like that. But yeah, so GameStop, I think early on GameStop was trying to call itself an essential business though, because obviously they didn't want to close all their stores early on in the pandemic, I believe. But yeah, so gaming as a whole technically benefited a bit from COVID because everyone bought into it and everyone's getting back in the games because, yeah, obviously they have a lot of free time, but they can't exactly go to a festival or a concert because those definitely aren't opening anytime soon.
Now, do you consider yourself a more conservative trader?
From my experience with Twitch chat, I'd say yes. A lot of people just want to like don't have the patience to trade long, I guess. So trading short, yeah, you just or not short in stocks, but I mean like trading long, yeah, you intend to hold the stock. So a lot of people right now are holding GameStop, I suppose, instead of just selling it and looking for a quick fix after a week. Because I think the GameStop thing lasted about 4 weeks, 3 weeks. So it was pretty fast. But I guess compared to a lot of people, maybe in esports or gaming space, I'd be more conservative. But if I was compared to like some of the older people, older crowd, I'd probably be around like that. But I'd say, yeah, considering how a lot of people really want to get into the next like big thing really fast, I'd say I have the patience, I guess, to be a more conservative investor.
Welcome back to GameStop Won't Stop. We're here with Daniel Hahn. He's a retail investor with a background in financial accounting. And he's also been, how long? You've been with WallStreetBets for quite a while.
I've been on their subreddits for at least 12 years now.
12 years at WallStreetBets. So you can kind of understand the mind of the WallStreetBets member. Tell us more about that.
I would say it's like a conglomerate of ideas mostly, and when a lot of how you say discussions of those ideas go on.
Mm-hmm.
If something smells and looks fishy, normally they'll figure it out. There's a lot of noise and stuff, so it's a lot of like trying to figure out what on WallStreetBets is actual information that's useful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The people there are very smart, actually, very complex, very sophisticated.
Where do the backgrounds usually come from? Are they long-time investors and they've just kind of learned along the way, or do they have also financial backgrounds?
I would say it's a mix. I think a lot of them are initially people that want to get into investing, want to make a quick buck, but as soon as they start losing their first large amount of money, people get more interested in it. So like I lost thousands of dollars initially making some really dumb bets, which got me into the finance world. And I think that story goes with hand in hand with other Wall Street bettors.
Right.
Where initially they might bet something and then they lose a bunch and then they get more interested in the finance department of the stock market.
They got to understand why. So if you're not losing anything, you're probably not learning anything either.
Yeah, I would say so. Because if you're just constantly making gains and gains, you're gonna think you're a god or something, I guess.
Right. So you've worked with these guys on not worked, but you regularly discuss with them on these forums.
I mostly lurk. I've been lurking on their website a lot. I generally don't post.
You've been following the GME thing since probably the beginning?
Initially, I got into it actually on the other side of the bet. I initially got into it and got back into the stock market as soon as Citron released a tweet about it. And instead of actually doing my research, I just bought put options and lost a bunch of money. Yeah,
tell us more.
Well, initially. And then after that, looking and doing more research, I bought really high, around the 270 mark. So lost money on both ends, but it's okay. I'm not too worried about it.
How do you deal with the losses, or have you learned over time that it just comes with the territory?
At a certain point, those emotions come up when you do make big losses.
Mm-hmm.
You just gotta throw those emotions, not necessarily throw emotions away, but like understand those emotions and move on. Like you're gonna feel that, but the more emotions you put into investing, the more likely you're gonna lose money. You're gonna start second guessing your investments. You're gonna start second guessing the bet that you've made. Yeah, and then you just make wrong moves, and then you sell too early, or you buy too late. You get FOMO'd.
And that's basically me every single time, buying too late.
Yeah.
Always late to the party.
Yeah,
Just as the party's leaving. Oh, you don't want to stay? Okay. Well, when it comes to GME, it doesn't look like we're completely out of the woods. The past couple of days, it jumped back up. I think it was close to $200 again. About
it definitely hit $200 after market for like a millisecond.
Well, I'm just wondering what caused it to go back up, because I don't recall anybody getting crazy about GME again.
Okay, there's a going theory going on in WallStreetBets of several things that are happening, and I kind of think they all kind of converged into this big initial jump. Like TD Ameritrade started putting restrictions on GME. Like they said that you need at least 100% of margins to go long to buy the stock, and then at least 300% to short the stock, which is a big kind of a red flag, right? If they're going to try to restrict trade in the stock. So they knew something was going to happen, I feel like. By the way, this is all my opinion.
Sure.
Currently, there's a theory about, if you know what an ETF is, there are ETFs out there that are heavily shorted that have GameStop in them. So one of the theories
So you don't have to actually own a share of GameStop. You just own a share of an ETF that's connected to GameStop.
Exactly. That has ETF inside of them, or has GameStop inside the ETF. The going theory is that hedge funds have moved away from shorting GameStop directly and moving towards shorting these ETFs at these ridiculous amounts of 100+%. But they are lower volume in trade, but it's still a significant amount. The other thing is there's a lot of options trading going on currently. I think the last thing I've calculated at the strike price of $100, there's 15 million shares up for grabs at $100 at this price point. So if the stock price is above $100 by end of day today, 15 million shares will eventually switch hands. The other thing is also Ryan Cohen's tweet was possibly one, but I think the bigger thing was around 1:30, 2 o'clock, I think Eastern time, 1 million shares were borrowed to short at that time. And I think that spike in volume might have also triggered Wednesday's spike. There's just, and all these things kind of converged into like this one day. Also, like the talk about GME on WallStreetBets throughout this whole week was just to hold the stock. Nobody sold, everybody just kept holding. And once people got more money, people started buying again, I think. So to say that there was no talk about GameStop for these last couple of weeks is, I think, it's kind of like a false narrative. The other thing is like the theory of a gamma squeeze. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, I have been a little bit familiar with it, but I'm always trying to figure it out, even when people describe it to me.
Simple terms is like, so an option, specifically a call option, for instance, is an option to have the right to buy a stock, but not an obligation to buy that stock, and it's always for 100 shares. Now, what happens on the market is that people will sell these options for a premium. To hedge that premium, you have to buy 100 stocks. So you buy 100 shares of GameStop, right?
Right.
And then you sell the option. So that way, say if the price of GameStop goes out of control, that you won't lose your shirt. At least you have the stock to replace or give them to them. If you don't have that option and you don't have a covered call, what tends to happen is you have to buy off the market at whatever price it is. So it comes back to this like feedback loop where the price goes up, people buy more stock to cover their options that they're selling. And it becomes this huge feedback loop. And on top of that, there are people that are also selling selling naked calls.
Yes,
don't have any underlying stock to cover or hedge that bet. They have to buy
basically,
from the market.
There is no stock there. It's just fake.
Yeah, well, it's just it's a promissory note saying that I'll give you 100 shares.
Oh yeah, and I owe you.
And yeah, and then so like I would not want to be on the other side of this bet. I would not sell any calls naked on this bet. It's just way too risky.
But the hedge fund people can do that.
Yeah, I mean, if they have enough cash, but at a certain point, if this, like, say GameStop does blow up to like $1,000, at a certain point, the banks have to cover them, right? They're going to run out of money. Because the problem with shorting something is that it's infinite. A stock can go up as much as possible, right? Yeah. While the stock can only go down to zero. At zero, that's as much money as you can lose. There's a stop limit of 0. But because the upward trajectory of a stock can go to infinite, you can lose like infinite amount of money.
How best could somebody regulate that? I mean, I think SEC already has regulations. They just don't push them.
Naked shorting? I think they have the rules there. Just got to regulate, right?
Exactly.
Transparency is a huge thing too. I think being able to see these things. Like recently, I just read an article from I think it was, what was it? It was, I think the Wall Street. Yeah, it's the Wall Street Journal. And I think hedge funds are now even trying to hide their shorts even more, at a point where they're using swaps. And by using swaps, you don't have to report those publicly. So at this point, yeah, transparency is a huge thing.
I'm just wondering why you don't have to
report because it's a different product than, say, options is. I guess options are more regulated at that point. Like swaps are always been back end type stuff. If you know, like the 2008, 2007 financial crisis is because of these swap derivatives, right? They're really back end and they go between banks. A lot of like dark pool type stuff.
Why isn't anybody talking about why that isn't transparent?
I don't know. That's the question. And I think Roaring Kitty made that point. Like, because we don't understand the mechanics of the market, how are we supposed to make the best decisions, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what he points out. The transparency is a huge issue.
Now, Roaring Kitty is still got GME stocks even now, right?
He actually doubled down recently.
He doubled down, like 50,000 shares or something.
Yep.
I don't know how he's doing it, but he did probably take some of it out, and
yeah, he I believe he did take some profits on the top end, up to I think it was calculated around $12 million. So he's good. He's set for life. I think the rest of the money that he's investing is just because he believes in the company. Yeah.
Yeah, and his the congressional hearing that he was under, if you could even call it a hearing.
Yeah, I believe like they were trying to make him the scapegoat, but it just didn't work.
Why don't you come back? Maybe GameStop Won't Stop season 2.
Yeah, we'll
takes
see.
Off like a rocket to 1,000.
We'll see what's going on. It's going to be a very interesting month, I think.
How long do you think that they could keep this up?
Honestly, probably for another month or two. I think so. Also, another thing to add on to why it spiked, generally end of the month is a huge deal because of options. A lot of options expire in the end of the month. So every end of the month is a huge possibility of a spike.
There's always an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.